What is up, people? Today I finally get to review The Predator, and I got that coming up for you next. So after 8 years, we finally get a new Predator film, and this time it is actually directed by Shane Black. And a little trivia for people that don't realize it, Shane Black was actually in the very first Predator film, and here he is, here directing. And it stars Boyd Holbrook, Trayvon Rhodes, and Olivia Munn, along with a few extras that make up the ragtag group of military that go after the Predator. Because, hey, you know we have to have military dudes going after the Predator. Now, right off the top, this movie has an opening scene that will let you know right out of the gate if you're going to like the movie or you're not, because there are two alien ships that are fighting seemingly for no reason at first, although you find out like an hour into it why they were fighting. One of the spaceships crashed right into Earth, and Boyd Holbrook's character sees the alien right away. I mean, this is in the first 5 minutes of this movie. Here's the thing. If you like setups for your films, and you like to be led into action and not just have action for action's sake, guess what? You are not going to like this movie because there is almost no setup here for really the first hour of the film. This movie wants to throw you right into what people go to a Predator film to see, which is the action versus the Predator. And hey, for that, if you are here for that, guess what? This movie is going to deliver on that. And even though it took a shift for me, just because me reviewing films, I tend to look at setups a lot more than I used to. But for this movie, I had to readjust myself, and I just wanted to put that out for you guys. Yeah, not a lot of setup here. I feel like in the 70s, before the summer blockbuster film came around, or like a lot of popcorn films were around, you got a lot more setup for your films, and it was just a lot more of a character study. And then in the 80s, that started to go away because you had a lot more summer blockbusters, and now you have films today that a lot of the setup just feels excised from the movie, and I feel like this movie is really a result of that. Ultimately, that didn't bother me because the characters here are excellent, and that is because of Shane Black's dialogue and the way that these actors handle his dialogue. Specifically, Boyd Holbrook's character of Quinn and Olivia Munn's character of Casey really, these actors know how to handle Shane Black's dialogue, and that comes through excellent here. I was worried about Olivia Munn and Boyd Holbrook. I feel like he was kind of bland in Narcos. That is really where he got his start from. It's a Netflix series if you guys haven't seen it. But here, he has a lot more personality, and I feel like the dialogue here really lends itself to us liking the characters a lot more here. I would say that not everybody can handle Shane Black's quippy, punchy dialogue, but these actors definitely do. Now, there is another person here that is chewing the scenery harder than anybody else, and that is Sterling K. Brown. He is over the top in a way that you actually want him to be here. He definitely has a lot of funny lines, and you know what? My wife actually got me into that series that he is on, This Is Us, and he's great in that, and this is a much different role for him, but it is so cheesy, so great, so funny. He is excellent in this movie as the leader of this task force that knows a lot more than they than they lead on about the Predator at first. But they want to investigate this Predator that has entered Earth's atmosphere. And there are some minor characters, like the guy that Keegan-Michael plays, and Thomas Jane's character, and I can't remember his name, Alfie Allen, the guy that was in Game of Thrones, and the dude that shot John Wick's dog. They round out the cast here, and everybody plays off each other excellent, but how is the Predator himself? Well, they take cues from all of the other Predator films besides Alien vs. Predator. I don't see a lot of AVP here, and I am glad. But pretty much they cherry pick from the Predator lore that works for what they're doing, and you get a lot of Predator tech that was in Predator 2, and that's pretty much the only thing I liked about Predator 2. You get the dogs here from Predators, and you get the classic score from Predator. A lot has come back here, and they do cherry pick from the lore, but I would say that I see a lot of Predator 2 here, just because of the fact that they want to focus on the Predator's tech in this movie, and I feel like that is a smart choice, because what they do with the Predator tech is awesome. Now, this movie also made me think about how much I really liked it when, back in the 80s and the early 90s for Predator 2, the Predator, it was just a guy in a suit. And I definitely appreciated the look of both of those suits. They really looked great. And here, the Predator is largely CGI created. And, you know, I don't really dislike it, but I don't like it as much. Specifically in action scenes. And with the budget of this movie, it's definitely lacking compared to just a dude in a suit. And I would have preferred them to go that route. In fact, a lot of the CG here is really lacking. Especially the Predator dogs. Man, they look bad in some shots. And I mean bad. And look, the first Predator definitely was an action movie, but it has elements of horror in it. And Predator 2 definitely got a little bit more action-y, but there were horror elements. Predators was almost all an action movie, and I feel like The Predator here makes the transition fully from kind of horror to full-on action, because there is nothing horrific here. Nothing at all. It is just action all the time, but it's not bad action. This is actually some pretty good action, despite some quick cutting that I feel like there are some editorial choices that I don't necessarily agree with, and I feel like this movie has good action that just isn't horror. People, you need to know what you're looking for when you go into this movie. If you are looking for a lot of setup and to understand a lot more about the Predator, you're not going to get that here. And this is simply just to remind you what you liked about the previous Predator films and give that to you in a way that is a lot more peppy and a lot more smarter, just because of the influence of Shane Black here. And that is why I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I had some problems, specifically with the ending and how they want to introduce new elements for next installments of films. But with that being said, this is a solid action movie that action lovers will enjoy. So guys, I will be going to the theaters in a couple of weeks for Venom, and I will be going quite a bit until the end of the year. So subscribe so you know when all my movie reviews are out. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. You know you're damn awesome, and I will see all of you next time.